Hi, Andre.
Hey Mum, how you going?
It's good to do another podcast with you.
Yep, looking forward to
We're
it.
doing quite a few, aren't we?
We've done a few, yeah.
Yeah, we have. So
Yep.
today I'm going to be talking about an interesting subject about clearing of houses or buildings or offices. I've had a bit of experience with this. So we're going to talk about what is it, what is energy in buildings, and do they need clearing, and how do you go about it, and all sorts of detail like that.
Okay, looking forward to this because I have no idea
Yeah.
what you're talking about. So let's start at why do buildings, offices need clearing?
Oh, they certainly do. So it's just like your dishes need washing, your house needs vacuuming or dusting and clearing because it just gets impacted with dust or dirt. We need clearing, and so it's the same actually with a building, because I think I've talked about psychic energy as well, and I've talked to you about when people may have an argument or something like that, and you can just walk into the room and you can pick up on that energy. It's like quite strong, so that energy has to go somewhere, and it can stay within buildings. So
So when we're talking about clearing, we're talking about clearing energy?
clearing the energy
Okay.
of a building, because it can really affect people.
Okay,
Yeah.
interesting. Okay, and what is this energy?
There's lots of different types of energy. So we'll talk about, there's like residual energy. So we'll talk about residual energy, which is quite a big one. I find a lot of residual energy. There's also current energy of people in a building, living there or working there. And there's also like spiritual or ghost energy as well. So we can just go through each one of those individually.
Okay, that last one sounds really interesting. So
Yeah.
we'll start at residual energy. What's that?
So I've done a lot of clearing. So I did one recently on a shop that's opening in Orewa, and when I went in, the residual energy I was picking up was people that worked there before, that owned that had a business there. And what I picked up was I got like really sore hips. So I felt someone had really sore hips. I also felt my chest didn't feel good, and I got a bit dizzy. So someone had some with their head, and my head felt sore. So I can't prove that, but I did pick up on that residual energy and I cleared it. But I have actually proven the energy of residual energy in buildings. So so interesting. I did one out of Auckland, and in there, it's a girl's house. She had lots of people staying there, and I picked up in one of the bedrooms that there was someone who was a windsurfer, and that was 100% because I kept feeling like I was a windsurfer. I went into her spare bathroom and I just said, "Oh, someone's been in here. You've had someone stay with you, haven't you? That's been a divorce and a broken marriage and a divorce and been really upset." And she said, 100% accurate.
Wow.
I've also picked up in someone else's house that there was somebody who used to sell cell phones, or in the cell phone industry and that sort of thing. So I can definitely pick upon residual energy. And so that residual energy if it can affect me, if I'm picking up on that, then it can affect other people either living in a building or working in a building.
Right, so the energy...
Yeah.
So right now we have energy that we're putting into this room.
Absolutely.
And so then as time goes past, people can come in here and pick up that residual energy that's been left over.
And quite often my room can feel a bit like a church. So we go into a church, it's got that beautiful spiritual energy. I mean, everybody, you must have felt that in a church.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's beautiful.
The churches have, especially the really old ones. You go to Europe and you go to those really, really old churches, and just the amount of, I guess...
spiritual energy,
or however you want to describe it, has been, people are sat there playing prayers for contemplating life and all that sort of carry on. So does the more, so if we came to visit a room, we bring our energy with us into that room.
We do.
The more we visit that room, or the more we do something in that room, does that energy build up? Like, does it get stronger?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
Yeah, it does.
So older places probably have more of a story to tell.
A big story to tell.
Yeah.
So, so that's sort of residual energy.
Yeah.
Also, residual energy can also be someone who's died as well. So it's not that their spirit's still there, but because in the same house I went into, and I picked up their mum had died of breast cancer. but I wasn't connecting to the spirit. I was just connecting. There was a lady who was a mother who died, and that was 100%. She died of breast cancer. So all that story and that information is in that building.
Yeah, it's interesting. So the building itself, or the energy within the building, is like a tapestry of, a written history.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's interesting. It's important. We can talk about why it's important to clear that, but there's there's a real need.
Yeah. Okay. And so we talked about residual energy. Anything else more on residual?
Well, even like recently, it was interesting. I know someone that died in the circumstances that someone died in a building. And I talked to someone else who was spiritual, and they said, I feel there was an angry man who died here. And I said, no, you're correct. But he wasn't there. All I got was there's traces of him. I heard from spirit saying there's traces of his energy. Yeah.
Okay.
And you can make a difference to a place by clearing it. We can talk about that later.
Okay. Yep, we'll talk about that after we talk about energy. So the next one was current energy.
Yes.
We discuss that.
That's really interesting. I kept on going. There's two situations where I went to some homes and the current energy was really affecting people in the house. So there's three situations actually. One was a girl that someone had quite a bad, I won't go into it, had anxiety disorder. It was quite bad, quite a bad anxiety disorder that was really affecting the house. And I went there a few times and I realised that the problem actually wasn't the house, was the person living there. There's another situation where I went to a house and it's this bizarre, so you've heard of OCD? And
obsessive compulsive disorder.
So I went to this house, it was bizarre, and I kept saying, I've got to go and wash my hands. And I went back and said, I've got to go and wash my hands again. And I formed a compulsive disorder only when I was in the house. And I said to the parents, the people who put me along, I said, why do I want to keep on washing out my hands? And they said, because our son has that disorder.
Wow. Okay. So current energy is the energy that has been introduced to the house at that point in time.
Yeah, and it affects other people. So I started having OCD.
Wow.
Can you imagine how much energy in buildings can affect you as a person, your behaviour? And there was another situation where I've had also, it's not the first time, I've gone into a house to clear it and I've had lots of problems in the house, and I've gone and picked up people that live there or situations, and it can take a while to find out why, because usually these people are having problems and it's a problem in the house. That's why they get you to come along to doing a clearing in the first place. And it's not always necessarily a ghost, because I think it's a ghost or someone else causing this. It could actually be them. And when I went into the bedroom and I thought, one of these people, it's not the first time it's happened, one of the couples had an affair.
Oh,
so they've cheated on each other, or someone's had an affair and they've never gotten over it. And so this energy of something hadn't been dealt with, the negative energy, I guess, because they hadn't dealt with it, was still in the house and was affecting the whole household.
Is that not residual? Is that what?
No, but that is current energy, because those people are still living in the house.
Okay, but current and residual are very related.
So
right?
So what residual energy is so that was someone who used to live in the house.
Yes.
So when I went to that girl's place, I told about the windsurf.
Yeah, it was left over.
That was left over. They've left the house.
Yeah.
But current energy are people that are actually
injecting that energy right into the.
And I've done clearings on offices, and I've picked up. I've done it on our own businesses, and I picked up things about people to be quite correct just by going to their desk, and I can feel what's got the energy they're putting out there.
Yeah. Wow.
It's huge, isn't it? It's massive.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm just thinking about prisons.
Yes.
Because people go to prison to, I guess, rehabilitate. But then the amount of residual energy of because a large majority of people that would go to prison would have massive amounts of trauma from probably their life, and they've done some pretty bad stuff, which is why they're there. And then you got a huge concentration of those sort of people there over long periods of time. I mean,
it's not good.
But we use those places to rehabilitate people.
It's not good because people don't probably believe in all this stuff. But definitely, you can actually clear energy. And I can talk about that soon, about how do you go about clearing a building or clearing an office, because you need to do it regularly.
Right, okay.
Because it can build up, build up, build up.
Yeah. Well, I remember as a young teenager, we used to go into finding old abandoned like mental asylums and stuff like
Wow.
that. And just because you'd go there, because they are spooky.
They're really spooky.
They're just buildings, right? But just because of, I guess, what you're saying, like the residual energy.
Residual energy
from
still
because
there.
all sorts of stuff has gone on.
And you can pick it up.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
You just know this. You can really pick it up.
Yeah.
And it's not your imagination. And I've talked about your psychic senses, I think, in my last podcast, and about what you see, feel, and hear. And it's like you do pick up on all that stuff, and it can really affect you. I mean, I think it's really strong. I can't believe it that I went into that house and I started washing my hands. I mean, how strong is that? That I'm picking up, and I started the same behaviour, which wasn't my own behaviour. So I've got to be really mindful, and I've got to be really careful.
Do not to take on things.
Some other things. And I find some people love house hunting. I can't stand it. I cannot stand house hunting. I just can't stand it. It absolutely exhausts me.
Is that because you're just constantly being exposed to...
Constantly exposed to people's residual energy.
Yeah.
And nothing against op shops and things like that, but I can't I can't wear secondhand clothes or anything like that. I'm not saying, people say recycling is really good for the environment, and I agree with that, but personally I can't. Yeah, so I'm just hopeless with it. It just really affects me.
Wow.
It brings me down.
Yeah, well, you're very sensitive to it, obviously.
Yeah, very sensitive, yes.
Okay. And so is current energy stronger than residual, or is there a stronger?
It's current energy. Well, I think it can be stronger, and I think residual energy can be more subtle, to be honest. So yes, I think current energy is stronger, and the history of the residual is less. It's interesting because we'll go into how we can clear energy. There's lots of things you can do. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Hey, before we go into that, so we have residual energy from energy that's been left over from past people.
Or people have died even.
Or people have died. So people that have been in that place prior in like history, I guess.
Yes.
We got current energy, which is the energy
people putting off at the moment.
At that space and time.
And affecting the environment.
And you mentioned a third energy, what was around like spirit and ghosts.
Yes. So there's a bit of controversy around spirit and ghost. So everybody has their own opinion about this and their own ideas. So even people watching this podcast may not necessarily agree with me. And I know in the Spiritual National Union, they talk about there's more, everybody goes over to the other side. And then you get other people saying there is ghosts and that people get trapped. So I have my own philosophy on this. And once again, I'm going to talk from Kerry-Marie, to my own experience. So I believe that we have free will. I've talked a little about having free will, and I also believe that when we pass away, we have free will to also go to this other dimension. And I think at times people could be, they're not trapped. I don't believe that people are trapped, but I think maybe they're too scared to go to this other dimension. So their body has died. No longer here, but this energy that I talk about still remains, and I find that I would refer to that as a ghost, and I find it quite a strong energy.
Wow. So is that because they've got unfinished business here, or they just weren't?
Who knows?
They don't want to let go.
They don't want to let go. Who knows what it is? But so when I connect with spirit, the difference is I get really hot. So because when you go to this different dimension, it's a different world. It's a high vibration. It's very healing, and it's very hot energy. When I'm connecting, if I come across a ghost, it's freezing. It's really, really cold.
Oh, right. So it's a different connection.
It's like a fridge. It's freezing. It's really cold, and I find it quite strong. And I've had several. I've dealt with ghosts a few times, and there was one. I went on my husband's motorbike, went out to farm, and I felt the ghost outside, not inside the house, and it came up right close to my ear like that. And the ghost showed me that he committed suicide behind a barn, which when I spoke to people was 100% right, and he was still hanging around.
Wow.
And he's affecting the land. And
that's so interesting, right? Because if you've got free agency to like
Yeah, I feel
passed to the
emotional talking about him for some reason. Really emotional. Yeah.
right. Yeah. So if you've got
Yeah.
like you said, like free agency to depart this dimension to this
Yeah.
spirit dimension that you speak about, and if someone passed by committing suicide, you'd think that the reason that they've committed suicide is because they no longer want to be in this dimension anymore.
I know, but they're scared.
But they're still here.
Yeah. Well, because yes, but not physically here. They don't have to
No,
physically
I know that, but you know what I mean. Like
Yeah.
they no longer like they ended their life because they didn't want to be here,
Yeah.
but then
I
they're
know.
stuck here.
We're not really stuck here.
Yeah.
They're too scared to go, I think.
Yeah.
I had there's two situations of ghosts. It's really interesting. One was, I learned a lot. So I went to someone's house and she didn't know what I was doing. And I picked up on the name. I picked up on the first and last name of the person that died in the house. And that was a ghost. And it was 100% accurate. I didn't know. And it was confirmed. And I was being like too forthright, and I didn't know what I was doing, to be honest. So one thing, if you're dealing with a ghost, if it's a spirit, always be polite. And I wasn't, and I was telling this person they had to leave the house, that they were no longer welcome. I was like shooing them away. And it worked. And then later on I was having a bath, and then I felt I couldn't breathe. And it was a spirit, it was now a spirit visiting me, and he told me told me his name, and he said, "You were very rude to me, you're extremely rude." He said, "You shooed me out of my own house. That was my house, and you told me to go. And that was very rude." I thought, oh gosh, I felt really, and I felt I couldn't breathe properly. And the reason I couldn't breathe properly, he said to me, I wasn't doing it to attack me or be bad, nothing nasty or frightening, was because he said, I died of lung cancer. That's why you find it hard to breathe. And I'm showing you what I died of. And he said that I had a message for you. And because the people that are moving into this house are big smokers. And I want you to tell them to give up smoking. I got a message because it killed me. And so, but you didn't give me an opportunity to do that.
Wow.
That was a huge, I'll never forget that.
You got told off by a ghost?
I got told, it was a spirit by that time.
Okay. Oh, right. Okay. So
he visited me as a spirit, yeah.
So what's the difference between ghost and spirit? So he was a ghost when you shoot him out.
Yeah.
And then he came to you as a spirit. Can you explain that?
This once again, people won't necessarily agree with me, so I apologise to anybody that doesn't agree with me. How I see it is, I talk about our aura, and we contains our aura, our spirit contains our soul, our personality, everything about us. So when our body dies, we're this energy, and we go to this other dimension. They say passing through the veil. And people that have near-death experiences have also experienced this. So what happens when you pass away, you are healed. You go through a healing. So, and people that had near-death experience have had this amazing experience where they've been healed by spirit guides. They've been really healed. And so the spirit's healed, and it stays in this different dimension. So a ghost, we've all got baggage. We've all got negative and positive things, but none of us are perfect. Even if it's physical ailments that we've got, we still hold that in our energy field. And so for a ghost hasn't gone through that healing process. So a ghost is, I'm not saying ghosts are bad or anything like that, but they can affect us with their energy because they haven't gone through a healing process. Does that make sense to you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so why haven't they gone through it?
Because they just chose not to.
Okay.
For whatever reason. Maybe they're just too scared. Maybe they're religious. And we can all go to the light. Personally, people would totally disagree with me, but I don't believe we're trapped. I believe that we've all got free will.
Okay.
And my job is to gently encourage someone to go to the other dimension. That's how I see it. And there was a situation where I know I did a clearing for someone, and they had also, ghosts can cause quite a bit of physical movement. So this person had coat hangers moving in their house. They had furniture moving. It was quite strong. And they also, their eyes were going a bit funny. And they also started growing a mole on their arm. And the weird thing about it, she said that my friend's a policeman and she knows a person who committed suicide in the house, and she's a nice person and she won't be affecting the house. And I said, with all due respect, that ghost or spirit, a ghost, will be affecting the energy in your house because they haven't healed. And what was happening is that this person's eyes was going, just didn't look healthy, and they're starting to grow a funny, strange mole on their arm. And then what happened? I did the clearing on the house, and the mole disappeared, and the eyes cleared up, and everything was happy.
Wow.
And so what it was, the person had hairy mole disease.
Oh, the ghost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And committed suicide.
Yeah.
So that energy was, see how that energy was affecting someone physically. Growing a mole, their eyes have been affected.
Yeah.
So it wasn't evil, it was just, I don't know, like, I guess it's like a person that's in a really bad mood can take it out on you and be really angry and not nice, and it can affect you. Well, a spirit or a ghost that hasn't passed away can affect you as well. Just like current energy can affect your people, or residual energy, so can someone who hasn't gone to the other side, a new dimension.
Yeah, and I guess in that scenario, it's a combination of residual and ghost, right? Because it's even if they had gone to the other side, as you describe it, the residual energy of them having committed suicide and their sickness and all that would still be there in a residual.
Yeah, so I think that's where people get these haunted houses and stuff, haunted buildings. I think it is very real.
Mm-hmm. Okay. You've spoken about clearing quite a few times. Can you just describe what clearing is?
Okay, so I get exhausted when I do clearings, by the way, but so first of all, I guess it's like if you're going into clean a house normally, is that you have to ascertain what you're dealing with. So even just by vacuuming your house and dusting your house and opening your windows, you're actually helping the energy. Straight away you're changing the energy, or even like changing furniture around, you're changing up the energy. So it's quite good to change things around. I find even on my cloth that I have here, I need to change that out from time to time.
Okay.
Yeah, I have when I do my readings because I can feel it.
Right.
Like crystals need washing and clearing. So the first thing I do is I sort of walk around and I just, what am I dealing with here? And the first thing that I do is I walk around to see if I can pick up any ghosts. That's the first thing I do. So I just walk around and is there a ghost here, or what is the residual energy? So it's either the ghost or the residual. So I go room by room. So I walk into a room and I'll go, what can I feel in here? And I might just get the residual anybody that's lived there, or I might pick up on a ghost. There's more residual energy than ghost energy. You don't always, that's because someone's having problems in their house. It doesn't mean there's a ghost in there. So I will walk around and then room by room and tell a story. It's really good to have someone with you. And it's really good to get feedback, like a reading. So what you're getting is accurate. Before I start, I always do a prayer. I always do a prayer before I start and ask for blessing on the house as well. So I'll ascertain what I'm dealing with. Then if it's a ghost, I ask them politely to move to the other side or go away. If it's residual energy, I just know I have to clear it. So what I do is I visualize in my mind white light, and I go with my hand and I go through the room like this, like lawn mowing, but across the room with white light. And I see the white light going through the room. I visualize it. I go to each corner and I do Reiki in each corner and in the middle. I then ask for a blessing at each doorway. That's what I do. Then the next thing I do is I get white sage, and it's really good if you've got a smudging feather. And you don't have to have a big bundle of the sage. I just have a stick. Essence is fine. You just can have the stick sage, and you just go around and I just go around with the sage, and then once I've done that, I then get a Tibetan bell and I ring it, because that brings the vibration up, and and I just go room by room with that same process in every room, bit by bit by bit. And then you may find that there's a problem in the house, and you've got to have a really honest talk with whatever's going on in the house. And the situation where the girl had this anxiety, mental health issue, I did a wee healing on her, and then the couple with the affair, I sat with them, sort of said a wee prayer with them. We talked about their marriage and stuff like that. And or I might talk with the parents and say, look, your son's got a problem, we need to get this looked at. So have a bit of a talk about it as well. So that's what I do.
Yeah. It's your process.
It's my process, yeah.
And so what does the sage, is that going to work on all three types of energy?
I think you can't just burn sage and expect a ghost to go. I think you need someone that knows. The Māori culture is amazing at their blessings. They're just, or priest as well. Someone who's really experienced, or qualified medium as well. So I think you really need someone who knows what they're doing to ask a ghost to go. But it's interesting we talked about the white sage. If you ask me why, how does it work? I've got no idea. I know that I use white sage because people have told me to use it. And all I know is that it works. And the reason why I know it works, at my house in Bannings Way, I went round and I saged it and I smudged it with a feather. And that's all I did. I didn't do the blessing. I just did the sage. And I went out shopping. I came back and said, oh my God, the energy is incredible. So it really lifts the energy. The other thing that lifts energy is also quartz. Or crystals are really good. The other thing that people have had problem with, they reckon that ghosts keeps on visiting. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. But someone told me this, and it worked. And I was in a spiritual centre, and I was sure there was a ghost coming into the room. And I knew there was a little girl outside my room, and it disturbed me. So someone said get a raw pink rose quartz and put it by your inside of your door. And I did that, and it worked.
Oh, right.
And the ghost left me alone. Yeah.
Wow.
So it can be, I like putting rose quartz by, I don't know if you notice, there's lots of rose quartz in our house, that's why.
Okay.
There was a ghost in our house when we got here.
And this one?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And so do they come back?
Do you know who told me that?
Who?
My husband.
Really?
Yeah, John told me there's a ghost in the house. And then his granddaughter, our granddaughter, said, there's a ghost in your house. And John was with me, and I went, I picked up on a man, and I said, there's a man here. And John said, you're right by his ladder.
Wow.
And we had to ask him to leave.
Yeah.
Not because the ghost is bad. It's just that you don't want your mother living with you, or maybe you don't. Maybe you do want your mother living with you, but maybe you don't want a friend staying all the time. I don't know. You know, when it's
you need your own space.
You need your own space. So it's time for that ghost. Is not doing any good on earth.
Yeah.
They've had their life. It's their time, and they need to go and be healed. And they've got as eternity is another life for them to live, and they can meet all their loved ones as well. So it's time for them to move on, and you don't need them around anymore.
For sure.
But a ghost, once it's gone over, may visit you as a spirit, but it's not going to come back as a ghost.
Yeah, but they could. So if you ask a ghost to leave, the premise, can they just go next door, and then at some time come back?
I don't know. I can't really answer that question. Possibly. I suppose if they're stubborn, I suppose they might not want to go. I mean, you're asking them to, you're inviting them to,
so
you encourage
agency.
them. It's just,
Okay.
I have heard of some pretty stubborn ghosts before, I haven't come across it myself. Yeah.
And what about energy? Once you clear the energy, residual energy or current energy, I mean, I guess the current energy is going to keep coming back as long as that energy has been input into the system. But what about residual energy?
You can definitely clear residual energy.
Right. And it's gone.
Yeah, you can. So if you see a white light going through, not everybody can do Reiki. Even if you say a prayer, do the sage, ring a bell, Tibetan bell. That would that's why people quite often go into a house, I think, and they will re-pull paper or paint, or they put new carpet in because they want to put their stamp on it. And I believe that current energy, it's really important to keep clearing your house yourself, like keep cleaning it. That makes a big difference. And maybe some people, I should really sage my room once a week, to be honest. But the energy in my spiritual room tends to be quite a special, uplifting energy. And John said to me last night, he said, why have you got the best room in the house? And I think it's the energy in this room.
Yeah. I guess like the more people you have through it as well, you've got a diverse energy.
Yes.
So not just a concentration of like an energy.
Yes.
But if you've got people continuously coming through, everyone's got like a different energy, and so you've got like, diversification's generally a good thing. And
yeah, it's really good. So yeah, really, I think part of someone's routine is to basically, you could actually sage your house once a week or once a month, but it should be, I think saging's really good. I know it works.
Yeah.
I don't know how it works, and someone else.
Well, I don't know how yeast works, but if you're going to bake a loaf, you put yeast in it.
There'll be someone listening to this, I'll say, oh, I know how sage works. But,
All right, so I actually got no more questions.
Well, thank you for working with me, Andre. And if you like this podcast, please like it. We'd love you to subscribe to the channel, Spiritual Truths. So just like it, subscribe, and also make sure of your notifications as well. If you push notifications, that means each time that a new podcast comes up, you can do that. You can also book a reading with me or get any of my products through Kerry-Marie.co.nz. Blessings and love, Kerry-Marie.